Hi, I'm Tony Richards, and I'm here in near Napa, California, and I'm here to see my friend Bruce Mooers. He's got this Corvair he just bought recently with 16 original miles, 16 actual miles on it. It's a brand new car, 52-year-old brand new car. So we're going to go in and take a look at it right now. Come on. Okay, so I'm here with Bruce, and this is his brand new, 52-year-old brand new Corvair with 16 actual miles on it. So my first question is, Bruce, how'd you know about this car? How'd you find it?
Well, I love 69 Corvairs. I've owned several. I first learned about this car around 1999 when Dave Newell published his Fingertips Facts, revolving around the history of 69 Corvairs. And this car was one of the cars that was in there, photographed and featured. And so you've got a copy of that book right there.
So this is Fingertip Facts by Dave Newell and Mark Ellis.
If you're looking for a 69, this is a great resource because it not only tells you about each individual VIN in each car, but it tells you how many of each color, what types of options were available, how many were Monzas and convertibles and coupes. This is one of 521 convertibles built in 1969. It's number 5988, which means it's 12 from the last Corvairs built, and it's the second from the last Corvair convertible ever made. I had learned about the car through this and did not think I would ever be able to buy it, but then I got an email about a Corvair that would be offered for auction up on the Barrett-Jackson auction down in Arizona. And I was unable to attend, but I thought, well, why not just register online and see if I can bid online and maybe win the car. Now, I've never bid online before, but it was a real easy experience. And luckily for me, I was one of just a couple of guys showing up that night to buy a Corvair, and I had money from selling one of my other cars, so timing and a little bit of luck, and I wound up winning the auction or losing, depending on which way you look at it, right?
Right.
It depends on how much money you want to spend. But I wound up with this beautiful, all original 1969 Corvair, dusk blue with a white top and a blue interior.
Right, the same factory condition, the way it came from the factory.
Yeah,
Nothing's modified.
Nothing is modified. Nothing has been changed. The battery is not original.
Well, yeah.
But the tires are the original tires holding air. The top is original, of course, all the paint. The top has never been lowered. The interior is mint condition, original. Everything all the way around the car is the way the car came. And of course, this car was built the last day of production, and so there's several unique features about this car that revolve around being built the last day of production.
Well, I noticed an odd option is the rear luggage rack. You hardly ever see that.
Yeah.
It's that was on the car? The way
That was on the car, and in fact, when you look at that luggage rack, we can walk back there if you want. It's not exactly the rack you would expect, but this is the rack that the dealer would have had, and so he installed this rack. And the interesting thing is the car was shipped to O'Fallon Chevrolet in O'Fallon, Illinois. I've got the original window sticker in the car. This is a copy, but he was an enthusiast and a collector, and so he bought this car knowing exactly what it was. The car was never sold. It was shipped to the dealer, never titled, never registered, never driven, and he installed this rack on the car from his own inventory.
Oh, okay.
And then, because the car was never registered, there was no title, there were no plates. Of course, when I bought it to California, we titled it. And we're not driving it, but we'll keep it original.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, that's interesting. And then has a 110 horsepower engine, I see. There's another rare option in here, oil bath air cleaner. Hardly ever see that.
Yeah, and
At least out in the West.
And you wonder about this, and there's a couple of other options that are interesting. I'll just read a couple of these to you. There's door edge guards. Of course, there's the heavy-duty suspension on this car, which is crazy, considering it was built the last day, literally within hours of shutting down the line. It has the heavy-duty air cleaner. It's got a power glide. It has spare tire lock, white walls, clock, radio. It's got the bumper guards, which are on the invoice.
yeah.
And then the other interesting is auxiliary lighting. And so if you come around the back, you'll see the tail light, the auxiliary lighting,
Yeah, look
so you
at
can
that.
light up the engine compartment if you're looking at the engine at night. So some rare features. You have auxiliary lighting in the front trunk and in the engine compartment. And you wind all that together, and you know, Tony, when I think about it, it's last day of production. We've got a clock on the shelf. What are we going to do with that? We've got some auxiliary lighting. What are we going to do with that? And I think the GM guys were just putting stuff on the car.
Load it up.
Another interesting thing, Tony, that comes with the last day of production resides on the hubcaps. And when you look at first glance, you'll say, well, those are the wrong hubcaps. But if you really look closely, you can see they've never been removed. They've never been touched. They're 500 series hubcaps.
That's off that was an option on the base model
Yeah.
500 Corvair.
They ran out of Monza hubcaps.
But the interesting thing is the 500 emblem reminds me of the front emblem on a 65 Corvair.
Yeah,
That little red triangle with the Chevy bow tie in it.
yeah,
So it does work, but
Yeah.
it's on a Monza emblem like it should
right.
have.
That's right. And I bet you they ran out.
Yeah, I bet you they ran out.
And,
And I think it's interesting that this car actually has a clock in it. So often I see a late model Corvair, no clock, just a blank.
Never.
And that drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I got a new clock at home sitting on the shelf, by the way.
It's good to have, and
you know.
I'll tell you, Tony, when you look at the price, the clock was $15.80.
Well, it's worth, what, 200 times that now.
Right, so strange. Another interesting feature on this car is the dashboard. It's a Monza, of course. It's not a 500, but a Monza dash has crinkle finish on it.
Oh.
And a 500 has a flat black surface.
I can feel it's slick.
This is a 500 dashboard on the left side, and on the right-hand side, it's a crinkle dash Monza. My gut is they ran out.
They ran out, they had to use what was handy.
That's exactly right. And so this car had some really unusual other little things. Last day, this screw's missing. You know, they didn't put it on, and there's a couple screws missing on trim items. There's a little bit of sloppy glue work and paint work that wouldn't have been accepted in 65. That was perfect for a 1969.
Now look at this, a 52-year-old convertible top. It's
Never
probably
used.
never been rained on
Yep.
and never been put down like you say. It's remarkable.
Yeah, he apparently the gentleman that owned the dealership was passionate about Corvairs, was passionate about Chevrolet automobiles, and he knew what he was getting and got the car, held it. The interesting thing was they really took care of the motor because when I want me to fire it up, can you hear it if I start it and turn it off real quickly? Because this is amazing. This is a never driven car that's been sitting in a warehouse, but it's in such good shape that when you connect the battery, it'll start. So I just and stored it at the family's warehouse. 69s came with a buzzer.
Oh yeah. Fire right up.
That's what a new Corvair would have sounded like.
And it smells new.
It sounds.
The
it
interior smells
great.
new, like a new car.
It's amazing. So yeah, the dust blue paint with the blue interior and white top. I think the only thing missing is the beach. You know, imagine taking this to the beach in 1970.
Yeah.
Going for a ride with the top down.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the amazing part about this car.
Wow. Very nice.
Any other questions that I can answer about the car? Tires are original.
Tires are original.
Holding the original air. The gas tank is original. They completely drained the gas tank, so there was no corrosion. All we did was pour a little gas in it, start it up.
So here's the bumper guards. That was an option. You
Yeah.
don't see too many Corvairs with bumper guards, but it dresses it up a little. Can we look in the trunk?
Yeah, let me get the key.
It's got the T3 headlights
Oh yeah.
with the T3 triangle. The later model Corvairs had dual master cylinders starting in '67. Here's the top boot. Probably never been on.
Never used.
Jeez.
Just been sitting in that trunk the whole time.
Wow. I think it's bent and shaped.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't want to.
I thought I'd just leave it in there because
leave it in there.
doing anything with it at this point would be not worth a lot of time. You see the orange wire leads up to the auxiliary lighting, which is right up here.
Okay. You know what? I've never seen that before in a Corvair.
And again, they must have just had one. Why put it on?
Oh yeah.
So it was there. Another thing about the 69s, you'll see a lot of the overspray. They didn't spray the trunk spray all the way up, so you can see the beautiful blue. But you also see the way they stopped. And then there's a lot of glue all over everything. Even this drip, I mean, that's a classic 69.
Yeah.
A little dripping glue.
Well,
And
last day of production, they were in a hurry. So.
they were in a hurry. They weren't building show cars.
Right.
And they knew this was the end of the day. And
Yeah.
so they were trying to get the last few bodies off the assembly line, get them sold, and get on to making Novas.
Yeah.
That's what they were really trying to do.
Yeah.
One interesting thing I'll show you around the rear if you guys want to see it. Another 69 peculiarity.
Yeah.
Talking about some of the peculiarities of 69s,
yes.
you know? And because these were the last few cars, they were using up the last of the Fisher bodies that were available for assembly. So I figure this being one of two convertible bodies left the last day, and we know that, they didn't have a lot of choices. And so you can see down here, this rear panel normally would have had a very smooth weld, but you can see they've had a thick weld and they kind of banged it into place. And then if you look at this bead that goes across that holds the rail, which holds this weather strip, which is in incredible condition, look at this imperfection. That would have been rejected in '65. They would never have tried to sell this or put it on a car, but they had a deadline to make. They were pushing out the last of these bodies, and that's what happened. It even has a little, it's a little unorthodox up here. There's rubber and adhesive in all sorts of locations. You can see adhesive dripping down here. That's 69. I've had two Corvairs with less than 15 miles on it. This being one. I had an Olympic Gold Monza Coupe as well, and it had similar peculiarities. It was built a little earlier, so it wasn't extreme like this, but unique. This one has all the smog equipment. Of course, with a 69, the engine has the serial number of the car stamped on the block. So the 5988 number's in the windshield, but it's also right here on the block. So you can confirm that this is the original motor for the car, of course, very easily on a 1969.
Yeah, the other 69 convertible was number 5997, I believe.
Yeah.
It was a green one, light green. Right. And the funny story, that was in our San Francisco Corvair Club newsletter for sale at one time.
Yep.
Maybe 30 years ago for $2,500.
I drove it. I went down and I drove it. I'll tell you how I found out. I got it in our magazine. I got in my car. I drove down. I met the owner.
Was it a lady?
It was a lady, and I drove the car around their neighborhood. I was the first person there. And it was frost green.
Right.
The right front fender had been replaced.
Oh.
And there was, not the greatest workmanship. And I was looking for a Corvair convertible. I wasn't necessarily looking for a 69 that day. And I just thought, well, that fender, being a one-piece car, I don't want that. And I didn't look at the VIN. And it was 5997. That's the last Corvair convertible assembled. It went to Lori Bissig for a number of years, and then it went to another owner, and it's now down in Florida with Ruben. Ezekiel owns that car.
Okay.
And so it's frost green with green interior and a white top, and it was in Oakland. That's where the car was, and I still regret it.
And it was sold by the dealer in Berkeley originally, I believe.
Yeah. So I went home. After I realized what the car was, I was irritated. And up for sale came 5997 from A.J. Stone, who was a big Corvair collector in Tidewater, Virginia.
The same car?
5996.
5996.
So it was a Le Mans Blue Monza Coupe 140 automatic. I bought that car. I had it for a number of years, and I sold it. But always wanted to get another one of these.
Yeah.
But that's a great story you bring up.
Yeah. It was the last Corvair Convertible for sale in our club newsletter, and nobody realized what it was. It was just
still turns. It would be sitting here right now.
Yeah. Nobody knew.
Yeah.
But shame on you for not checking the VIN.
I didn't check the VIN, and I didn't really know at the time that. Of course, that was right around '99. So people weren't as tuned in. You know, Dave Newell had his thing going with the book, but I had not owned a 69 prior to that. So I didn't understand the sequence and the importance of that. And when it dawned on me, it really bummed me out.
Well, the fact that this is the second to the last 69 Corvair Convertible, that's pretty big.
It's pretty cool, and it's not been wrecked and repainted.
Yeah, it's not.
That's a big deal.
Unmolested.
Yeah, hard to find.
Yeah.
Either one of them. I mean, you find any of them. But A.J. Stone had a number of Corvairs, the guy I bought 5996 from. Then Dave gave me a call about a family over in Sonoma that had an Olympic Gold Monza Coupe with 13 miles. I bought that, and I had the two of them for a number of years. And then I needed money as my kids were going through school and stuff, and I sold them both.
And then you regret it.
Came back. You always regret it. Every time you sell it, you regret it.
I know. I know the feeling. So, well, this sure is a beautiful car, and it's been a treat being able to come over here and see it. And thanks again.
Well, thanks for coming, and thanks for helping us with the club and getting all this stuff together. You've done an amazing job here in the Bay Area for Corvairs for decades, and everybody knows it. And so
decades.
Having you here is a big deal.
50 years.
It's awesome.
50 years.
Yeah.
Been involved in Corvairs.
And that's what makes the hobby go round.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, thank you, Bruce.
Thanks for doing it.
Good seeing you.
Pleasure.